Good afternoon, dear friends. I'm very happy to welcome you here. And looking at you, I've just thought about the line of a very popular song. How great it is that we gathered together today. We have a very interesting topic, digitalization of banking. What's next? And today, with our dear speakers, we'll talk about the basic bundle, basic set of digital banking, what is the competitiveness between digital and the traditional banking nowadays, and what's the future of this banking. We'll talk about the digital revolution, and we'll try to draw the future vision of a lifestyle banking. And our speakers will help me with this. The first speaker is Stanislav Bliznyuk, Tinkoff Bank. Kirill Tsarev, Sberbank. Vayeva Sapyan, Ozon Group. Ivan Petkov, Alfa Bank. Anatoly Pechatnikov, VTB. And Mikhail Zadornov, Bank Открытие. I think that all of you would agree that digital banking today is an essential part of our life. When I say our life, I mean clients, as we all are not only bankers that create these services, but also the clients of banks. Why has it become an essential part of our life? Firstly, because it makes our life simpler and more comfortable. It saves our time and energy. And the pandemic period, not a simple period, just made this transformation quicker, this digital transformation of the bank sector. Today we've discussed that it has also enhanced the leading positions of Russia in transformation of the financial sector into digital. Today, under the circumstances of today's reality, banks have to revise their business models. And I think that the direction that has been chosen before these events, the direction for digitalization, will be the key direction. Today, there are many products created by banks, online crediting, online payments, and these products for physical persons, for small and medium business, and also for major corporate business are developing. We see that large banks build their IT platforms, and we even can call them IT companies. Major IT companies, they open new opportunities, and these opportunities give them possibilities to provide new services to clients, as well as create additional risks. What are digital services that clients today need, that need physical persons and clients, and whether traditional banking will replace digital banking in the future? But I'd like to start with the basic set of services. And I have a very short question, and I expect a short answer from speakers. What is a digital banking in 2022? What is the minimum bundle of services? Today, a bank needs to have in a profitable digital banking. Mikhail, the floor is yours. I'll start with the idea that for 2022, a major Russian bank needs to have a sustainably working mobile app. This is really great. Nevertheless, there are three main functions that should be provided. Just the ability to become a bank client remotely. And now we are doing this with the help of a courier. But if we will go further with the support of central bank and the government for remote identification of the client without physical contact with the courier or the bank employee, that would be a breakthrough. The second thing is that a customer needs to have the opportunity to manage the product remotely in their own mobile banking, to change the date of payment, the schedule of payment. I'm not talking about mortgage payments, as it's too complicated, but regarding the rest, credit, products, all services should be managed by the client in their mobile app. I think this is the second important thing in the bundle. And the third is all kinds of payments, thanks to faster payment systems. We can send payments to cards, and all other payments should go quickly. And I'm not talking about foreign currency payments today in 2022, but in general this is the third part of this basic bundle. Yeah, I cannot agree more. Our whole life is in the smartphone, in the mobile phone today. Anatoly, I would actually not contradict traditional and digital bank to each other. I would discuss this in a different sphere, just in the model of sales and service. I think that digital channels are just a model of self-service. where the client can just install all services and can use them without the help of a bank employee. But there are the models where a client needs help of a bank employee. So talking about the basic bundle in the mobile app of a bank, I think it needs everything that is required for a self-service, all kinds of operations. And I will continue the discussion in this direction. An example of digital banking that everyone talks about in our country, it has components with the help of bank employees. For example, courier, shipment, and also other services when bank employees help. So, to make it short, the basic bundle of a mobile app is all kinds of operations that can be made by the customer without the help of a bank officer, all functions. And what we need today is the model of remote attraction of new clients of the bank that Mikhail mentioned. And this is not a question in technology, but a more regulation question. And I know that the discussion is open today, even in your department, and I was really happy to hear that when I was asked what are the advantages that the customer would help and the credit organization would help. And in general, our financial industry would have if the regulator would allow to have remote identification and to use, for example, identification that was held in the portal of governmental services or in the office of the governmental services. Thank you. Ivan, what do you think? I think that the key competence for the success in the near future is to build the open technological platform. We need to invite, as the bank has very good competitive advantage, the frequency of contact is more frequent only in messengers or social media or games. People use only them more often. For example, on the Alfa-Bank platform, our partners close the deals for several millions a year. We give the access to our clients, we give them opportunity to sell, and we earn as well. We get to the platforms of our partners. In October, we launch a new service in Restore. This is just the first attempt. Without entering the bank platform, you can open the card, activate it, and make a purchase. We penetrate to new platforms. We work not only on our platforms. And regarding the services, I think it's not a secret for anyone. The services are in the mobile app, and a person does not need to go to the portal of government services they can do everything in the mobile app of their own bank. And I would like to compliment Kirill from Sberbank, as Sberbank becomes a really open platform. In October, we subscribed to the service, pay to the client. When a client wants to pay with QR code, they do not need to think whether it is a QR code of Sberbank or faster payment system. They can just make a payment and that's it. And this opportunity to open their services, to share key competencies with their partners, I think this is our new future. Thank you very much. Why? What do you think? There is just a very good word, universal bank, and I think the universal bank of 2022 is just the bank of this century. If you do not have this function in digital, it means you do not have this function at all. I do not believe in narrow specialized banks and services in digital direction that can conquer the market. If we talk about specific services, there is no point to talk about this because every year the list is changing. Some solutions disappear, some solutions appear, and when we talk about remote identification, I cannot agree more. I support everything that works for remote identification. We have to simplify everything. We are the largest country in the world in terms of square kilometers, and the density is not very high. So remote identification is the key factor to not use hundreds of thousands of couriers to move around the country and hustle. Thank you. That's an interesting position of a person who recently entered the banking sector. We will talk later about universal banking. Kirill, what do you think? I will not repeat, as I would like to say, to support what my colleagues said. And I agree that the bank in digital needs to have everything that they provide traditionally, offline. If a bank has 20 products, it means they provide 20 digital products. If they have 100 products, they provide 100 digital products. The second element is channels those who started this customer journey in digital, they need to have an ability to finish it in the office. And of course, another important element is everything that's related to the state service, because we are more integrated with state services. And the question of penalties and fines and notifications and photos, and here banks can be really useful. When last year we had COVID and customers needed to obtain QR code and register in the portal of government services, or to sit in a queue in the office that provide government services. So one of the solutions was to do this, to register in the mobile app of a bank. And we've registered our customers in the portal of government services remotely. So this is a inter-cross support supporting the government services by banking. So I'm sure that digitalization will be everywhere. We cannot be omni-channel, and the client should use our services without any problems. It should be clear and intuitively understandable. Stanislav, what do you think? My colleagues mentioned a lot of things, and I'll try to share our principles. One principle in the digital banking should be very important, and of course mobile banking and remote identification, it moves the market forward. The second principle is frequency. Maybe it's not that obvious principle, but frequency attracts customer and increases the trust. The more financial operations are made in the system, the more comfortable it is for the client, for the state, for the bank, and other partners that are in these financial services. The third element is the love to the client and the desire to innovate. Everyone talks about it, but it's very difficult to do, to implement. Yes, so we need to love the client. Innovations is also a question of different limitations. Regulator does not allow to do something. There are competitors that hinder doing something, but the idea of creating something new should be supported. And the last element is that digital banking cannot be without capital, without profitability, without effectiveness. And these are fundamental values. There is such a saying, a quote, like, banking is like a game with a fire. If you come too close, you can be burned. And if you are too far, you will be frozen. And you need to find the balance. It's very easy to create something, but it's also easy to lose a lot. Thank you very much. For me, as a manager who is responsible for those who control banking, and I'm very happy to hear that the capital, liquidity, and profitability are the pillars that keep the success of any bank, whether we call it traditional or digital. And of course, the love to the client, this is client orientation, just a new definition, is really great. It sounds really touching, and all speakers talked about this today. The speed and quality of the services, the comfortability of services that are provided in this basic bundle is not only to earn the profit, but also to make our clients love us back. This mutual love is really important, and in spite of the fact that a traditional and digital bank do not differ, we will pass to the topic of the competitiveness of traditional and digital banking. Is there a competitiveness? What are the elements of competitiveness? And my first question is to the first bank in Russia that works online only. Stanislav, the question is to you. Tinkoff Bank today, is it the limit of development of digital banking? Do you have only optimization left? Or the potential has not come to its limit yet? What are the directions of traditional banking? Are they most difficult to digitize, or everything is quite simple? What I can say, Tinkoff Bank is not a small bank. And still, we have great potential for development. We do not see the ceiling. We do not see any limitation. We do not think we are limited. So we watch with optimism into the future. We understand our model, we understand our competitive advantages, and we are going to grow. And in terms of the limitations, what can hinder the development, there is the optimization of internal processes, and we see the progress there. Banks usually see internal disadvantages, some ineffective processes and a lot of consultants, and of course we do the optimization of internal processes. You've done something and you saved 1, 2, 3, 10 millions, and of course digitalization just helps us to use different solutions and to optimize the processes. There is another part to optimize the client's pains. There are a lot of clients and there are many situations, and to understand which pains can be taken and can be improved and put into digital to make it with good frequency and to have good demand on this. Of course, we need to have good communication with regulators and tech companies, with banks, as there are many solutions and we cannot do them on our own. We do them together. We understand there is a trend and we have to move towards it. And thanks to regulator, it really helps. For example, the system of payment transfer, or let's talk about biometrical identification. Banks agreed, but yet we have not done it. So that's it for now. And we also had a question about the direction of activity of traditional banking that are difficult to digitize, or you don't have any difficulties with it. Actually, if you look with optimism at the situation and support inside the system, as we try to do so. We are proud for our fintech solutions, and we support innovative products and experiments. And there is a battle to develop competitiveness. It really helped to create breakthrough solutions. As I understand, you are one of optimistic players. Thank you. And the next question is to Kirill Tsarev. Sberbank today is not only a bank, it's a large IT company that provides different products and services. We can buy any services through Sberbank app. We can buy goods, medicine, food, and it's very convenient. Do you think that the balance in the financial market is changing between banks and new technological players and participants? And the second question, how do you adapt, or you plan to adapt your digital strategies according to geopolitical roles? Of course, it is changing, maybe not as quickly as we would like to. We have a clear competition between banks. There are more digital banks and less digital banks. New aggregators came to the market, potentially financial marketplaces that have new functions that help to optimize the choice of a new product for the client. So from one side and another side, the companies come on electronic commerce that came into banking, and of course this industry will be transforming. Yet all these trends we see as trends, but with the development of technologies, this trend will grow and develop. And in a few years we will be in the situation when we have new players on the market, and the regulator is discussing the standards of the market. And yesterday we saw it. So by 2025 we will see major changes on the digital market. Maybe they will not convert into numbers, but we will see new players, new banks that will exchange the data. We will see the companies with electronic commerce when they sell banking services with goods. Of course it will be changing, but at the moment the main volume is by classical banks, and we see the market is growing, and it's really important to take into account that there are very high standards for security and trust, and current situation with attracting subcontractors and own solution. Yeah, this situation sets very serious, ambitious tasks. The banks need to implement digital solutions with the increasing volume of transactions. So if we talk about trends, I see these changes in the near future. I agree that everything that is connected to security was relevant always, and especially now it is relevant. Clients' data, it doesn't matter whether there are physical persons or business representatives, they should be protected. Yeah, I would like to add on here that this year we faced unprecedented number of attacks. We managed to cope with them, but the growth of technology puts new challenges for us to protect our clients' data. These are one of the key goals for us, and it is very expensive. We need to take into account that technology needs investments from all stakeholders that want to participate in this. Regarding the necessary bundle of digital banking, we need to add the security and trust, as well as reliability, because not only banks are developing, but also swindlers and defrauders. I agree with you, and of course we cannot save on this, because as we all know, the miser pays twice, and we'd like to avoid this, to avoid such situations. Here is representatives of the Ozon company that recently came into the market of financial services. We see how the companies actively come to this market. We have Wildberries Bank, Yandex Bank, and of course the entrance of tech companies to the market of banking influences it and has an impact on it. They are your competitors. So I would like to ask you, why? How tech companies understand that what the bank is? Is the bank a tool to develop your activity? Or is it an IT platform with financial direction? What were the problems when you entered the financial market? Or was it easy to enter this market? When we talk about how we see the bank, what we say fintech is a bank. And I think this is really simple words. Any bank can be asked what is IT and what are the clients. How do we serve our clients? How we take care about the clients? Our goal is to make profit, to earn money. This is our goal, to earn standalone on banking services, so that no one thinks that we came to do something else. No, we came to earn money. We know that financial industry is huge, and this relates not only to Russia but to the whole world. Financial industry is a huge part of our domestic products. And however, we see a lot of hindrances in the e-commerce. They are related to financial services and payments, and I told that the universal bank is a key to success. But when we talk about our strategy, we are a bank at a marketplace. Yes, we want to go beyond payments and these types of functions, but we understand our core function, and this is the solution related to all problems that are related to online. When we bought a bank from one of moderators on the plenary session. We said, we are just entering the bank industry. We do not want to have any legacy. Or we do not want to have any notification from the central bank after they see the history, any point of criticism. So we just don't want to participate in this. And of course, no one can say that we will not have this problem. But what we agreed on, that we buy a bank where there is zero of existing clients. There was the ideal balance. Just there was nothing on the balance of this bank at the moment when we made the purchase. So there was zero existing clients, just the ideal balance, capital and cash. What we got, this is what we wanted. The clearest bank, without any legacy, without clients, just to destroy the infrastructure. I will explain what I mean by destroying, because it sounds quite harsh. I mean, we built automatic banking system. We have minimal number of vendors. We just made a focus on IT solution, not because we think that we can do everything great in the world, but because we understand that to make correct bank, to make right bank online in terms from marketplace point of view, we need to find very precise IT solutions. But having universal solutions, many of those could be made in 90s or 2000s. This is not what suits us. So we tried to focus on that. So the integration of our small bank to the huge marketplace, it was very smooth, as it was possible, because we were building an IT system from scratch. for the goals that we have. If we had bought a universal commercial bank with large legacy, it would not have been possible. But you bought the bank with a universal license. And as I understand, you've managed to create the bank that you had in your mind. And yes, you implemented the strategy quite successfully that you had and visualized in your mind. And transferring to digital revolution, a lot of banks transform their offices and make them quite interesting and advanced in terms of services for customers and users. One of the offices of Alpha Bank is near the central bank office. Ivan, I would like to hear your opinion on the work of several years. I know that the first office was opened in Moscow. Now you open new offices in regions. Just based on several years of work, what is user experience is different from what you have now before the strategy digital was implemented, how the user's requirements have changed, and whether the volumes and reasons for visiting the offices have changed after this transfer into digital. Yes, as far as I remember, 3 years ago on Finapolis, we announced that we have chosen digital conception and we start to develop it. And several years have passed. We have not been disappointed. I'm sure that all the team of our bank are digital evangelists. We will not sit and wait, and more than half banks in the network of Alpha Bank are the offices of a new format. Digital is just a very broad concept, and implementation of this strategy in our country is one of the key elements, but not only. I will tell about it later. But answering the question you asked, we really saw the significant changes how our clients are served in new departments, in new offices, and a lot of things are happening behind the scenes. More than half of operations that are happening in our offices are done without providing a passport. A person does not need to think that when they go to Alpha Bank, they need to keep their internal domestic ID, passport. You will not find a lot of papers. We removed service operations almost completely, so our customers that are sitting at the front, they spend 3/4 of their time just on consulting and selling new products. And this is the fact that today the number of customers that we have in each office, I think we are a benchmark bank in our country. And we grow the number of customers without growing physical network of our offices. I see it as a very significant competitive advantage. Talking about the regions, if just a U4 comes to any regional town, people would be surprised less than by seeing a smart branch, because many people saw U4 in movies. And our smart branch is really an event for every new regional town. It's a totally new format. At the beginning, people were even afraid, but they start using it quite quickly because the environment is very comfortable, it's easy to communicate, to solve financial questions. So we continue, we believe in it, and it's great to see that many banks follow our example, and we have new offices that other banks started to multiple and scale these types of offices. And we also see multi-channels, and this year a lot has changed. For example, a year ago, we could have said that the best mobile banks are in Russia. It is still true. Believe me, this year and next year, the best internet banks will be in Russia as well. The life forced us to do so, and those who invested into multi-channels, they did not think that it was a mistake. They definitely did not regret it, and they continue to provide best services to their clients. So I think digital is the future, and we are not ready to have only physical or virtual banking. We understand that we know the customer's needs, and we think that we provide the service and opportunities that clients really need. And another important thing The conceptual of digital gives an opportunity to compete not only in rational fields, because banks are usually very rational organizations. They talk about fees, about services, but the competitiveness in the emotional field gives additional opportunities, and you can also see in our stand today this. People need more warmth, more care, and we can give it. We can be more closer to them, and we're going to develop this in the future. Thank you very much. I think this is a very good approach. Diversification over the directions of development, not only digital and internet banking and all kinds of sets of digital banking. I think this will lead to be successful in the future and to implement the strategy that you decided to implement. Anatoly, I would like to apply to you as a representative of traditional digital banks. The bank VTB is one of the major banks that has a large portfolio of digital services, intellectual chatbot for a dwelling ecosystem where they can have seamless online contracts and agreements and deals. And also the clients of VTB can use a very broad network, and you have multi-format offices. How do you transform VTB offices, and do clients need these offices? What is the avatar of a client who comes to VTB office? Olga, I would like to start answering the second part of the question. Why do we need physical offices and who comes there? I was really surprised by the results of a survey just before Phinopolis. We have around 120,000 people who daily visit the offices. You will be surprised, but 60% of those people who will come, for example, to the office today, they know that the service that they need, they can get in the digital channel. Still, they visit the office. Probably it needs a more precise survey. But if we talk about client orientation and focus on clients, we cannot ignore this factor. They really need physical offices. Why I mentioned the model of service? There are some people who are used to self-service. They use ATM and digital channels where they do not need a bank officer, a bank employee. But some people really need the support of bank employee. And 60% of people who visit our offices, they need bank support, bank employee support. But actually it's not needed. We have accepted the manifest and all these service products that exist today in the bank. They exist in the mobile app as well. We do not do the products that cannot be used in the mobile app. If a product needs paperwork, we just do not produce this product. Nevertheless, some people prefer this type of communication. I'm not talking only about the office channel, I talk about all kinds of physical communication with the client. This is the call center and our courier service. Regarding transformation, every bank has its own evolution over digital transformation, its legacy, its history, its experience of client-based integration, and so on. Of course, the main focus and investments are launched in the digital field. And of course, in 2020, we did digital transformation in our main channels. And I think that we've done it successfully. And the second stage in 2022, all these digital technologies are used in the physical channels. If we say that all services are digital and are in a mobile app, and a client really is able, by self-service, to obtain these services, why do not we have the same solutions in the offices? Because people come for the same services. So this concept of digital transformation we've chosen for our offices, and this year we are finishing with the full transformation of the office software. This is the same mobile banking for clients, but just deployed with our employees and the services in the offices, in the bank offices. When we use at the same time both digital and physical services, today you can see in VTB offices, when the main interaction between an office, a bank employee and a client is happening based on the digital channels. This is how we ensure digital signing. This is the transformation that we've done, and it has its own major results. not only from ecological point of view, but also we saved time and costs. Another huge transformation that was done, we were not the first, the pioneers, we just repeat the experience of other market players. We concentrate on the client. The client is the main in the office environment. The client is placed in the location where it's comfortable, and our employees come to him to provide the service, and they use tablets and smartphones, and an employee can provide service with a smartphone. So both the employee and the client, they use smartphones and make the operation. So that was the transformation that was implemented, talking about digital. And the same transformation is happening in other channels. In the call center, for example, because work environment of our employees in the call center was modernized according to the mobile banking standards, and the courier service was modernized as well. So I think it is a logical revolution to support omni-channeling and multi-channeling and to support all points of touch with the client. I think these 60% of the clients who come to the offices, they will continue coming to the offices. I think these are people of certain generations. But I think also face-to-face communication is important for people. And people who stay at home, maybe they have lack of face-to-face communication, or maybe they have a lack of knowledge, so they come with their smartphones and ask for help in the offices. So I think definitely people will continue to need these offices. I can say that I do not visit bank offices for several years. I find it very comfortable to make all operations in the mobile bank, in the mobile app. But I cannot get used to buy food and goods through the internet, some kinds of stuff and clothes I really need to touch with my hands, so I'm sure that everything will exist. Offline shops and banks and online shops. I think it really depends on the customer, on the client, on their wishes and on what they want. Mikhail, you started your banking activity in VTB24 and now you work in the bank Ankritie, and it combines traditional basics with digital. You will be surprised. I started my banking activity in the board of directors in Sberbank in 1999, and then I moved to VTB24. So it is a more, it's all the history. Yeah, I didn't learn this about you, but now you are in Bank Ankritie that combines traditional banking and digital banking. Tochka is a very advanced service that business actively use. How do you see the future life of a retail bank, and what are the opportunities for traditional bank? And do you see the opportunities that open by collaborating with fintech? Yeah, I think all participants of today's discussion agreed that fully digital banks work with multi-channels and try to offer a user story, including in the offices or by a courier. I'm quite sure that there will be a shift in these channels towards mobile banking. Although Anatoly mentioned that clients visit the offices and they want to visit the offices, we hope that the length of life will grow, and we need to agree that certain generations visit the offices and they have constant experience, but of course younger generations move towards digital and mobile banking. And when we talk about the offices, I'm sure that there will be just a small office, if we can call it this way, where both the employee and the client will be with smartphones, and no other complicated systems will not be in the office. This is an ideal scheme, as I see. In Russia, we always think that we are the third Rome, but we really need to accept that we are very competitive as a country in terms of the banking sphere. But there are some banks, for example, in Georgia, Bank of Georgia, for example, and TBC, and there is a very strong competition there. And I saw this alternative in both banks, and they have implemented already this model that I'm talking about. And Kaspi Bank has the same examples. And I totally agree that in the future, bank interfaces, mobile banks, offices, and call centers, we as Bank Открытие, we finished to do the same interface for all our retail clients. And this will bring the reduction of physical offices because it will save the cost, and of course we will reduce the number of ATM network, because if we look into the data, how many operations were done through ATMs 5-7 years ago and how many operations are done today, it's a totally different number. The operations move to mobile apps, mobile banking. Once again, mortgage payments should be mentioned, and of course our population go for investment products. And of course, the fact that around 6 trillion rubles were frozen, so this wish maybe is not as strong in 2022. Nevertheless, people's personality will bring these back, and we will offer investment products, and of course, using a mobile bank, it is easy to explain even to younger generations how to use them on a smartphone. Of course, some operations will still be done in the offices, but the number will be very small. Call centers, chatbot will be moved to mobile banking. And of course, we use partnerships. You were correct that Bank Открытие has great experience for another type of work. For example, service, 4,000 clients from middle business use us, and we are a back office for them, as a bank who makes the operations for them. Before there was Rocket Bank that was tried to launch. Everything was good for the customers, but unfortunately the profit was not as high as we expected, so this is another extreme here. We can invest into these partnerships, but we definitely need certain capital. Just some time should pass until the service becomes profitable. And also what banks are going to use, and we are already using it. These are partnerships with cashiers, not only with such services as I am a cashier, but other services, just a number of functions, cash registers, aggregators we are going to use in our user stories. And a number of tech companies, not only fintech companies, but just tech companies, give us a number of functions that are behind the scenes. For example, when they can recognize printed documents and turn it into digital. Also, a number of functions such as transport chains for customers, just input, for example, in Moscow underground. So banks will build in different user stories, as well as banking payment services will be built into the user story, into the customer journey on transport system, while using taxis and in a range of different operations. For example, when you go to a shop. Thank you very much. I think that there are no pessimists among us. We have radical optimists and just optimists. So I would ask you to look into the future in 5-10 years. What do you think is a lifestyle banking image of the future? Stanislav, could you describe it? Okay, let me try. Actually, we came up with this name, lifestyle banking. Okay, I think it's really important to have trust with the client. When you have trust, the client starts address to you not only with the question how to get money, but also how to transfer money, how to deposit money, what can you do to ask for advice. So we try to offer these types of services, to try to foresee the wishes of clients, to educate the client and to tell them the best cases, how they can improve their life using bank services. Although we focus on banking, lifestyle services are done in order to be closer to the client and to have trust. I can give several examples. So we have just general clients, like average temperature in the hospital. It's really difficult to work with this understanding. So we look at a client and we see some segments. For example, there is a segment juniors, children. Probably they will not visit offices. Nevertheless, this is a very successful segment. We make some services for them. There is a financial service, education, and there are also lifestyle services where they can buy a toy and so on. So I started with children, but we have also a segment with private banking, classical private banking. In classical private banking, people expect to have the office, a pretty girl that is sitting there. But we saw that remote service can be done successfully as well. So by segmentation and analytics, we're going to add lifestyle services to banking services to make the client be happy, to improve the client's trust and to make it comfortable for customers. Kirill, what do you think? I think there are several components. The first one, it's important to be with the client, where the client is. It is very clear, but at the same time, credit for the sake of the credit is not needed. The credit is needed at the moment when the client needs something. And we call it the bank behind the scenes. Bank services should appear in the moment when the client is in this or that life situation. And in the example with different kinds of electronic payments, for example, SberPay, Tinkoff Pay, Yandex Pay, this is one of the examples when they give you more comfortable scenarios in these or that places. This is one component. Another component is segmentation. While banking is developing, the number of products will increase. And one of the challenges we face with the great number of products, how to give an interface for every type of a client that will be comfortable. In Tinkoff, for example, it is junior. In Sberbank, we have SberKids. When a specific client needs to be provided with bank services, with limited bank services, so that they are natively understandable, clear, and if we continue this thought for different clients, it's important to provide adapted services. And the third component is open banking that will maybe bring to redesign of mobile apps, because the logics of the wallet can change. Actually, there are three components. The bank should be where the client needs it, not in the bank services, because in many situations, in many services, bank is not the final service. This is just the service for having another service. The service should be adapted for a specific customer, and to be able to provide not only own services, but also the services of competitors. Thank you very much. Why? What would you say? I will maybe say not a popular point of view. I did not know that Tinkoff came up with this name, lifestyle banking. But I think this is an attempt to make a super app inside the bank. Actually, I'm against super apps and ecosystems, and I'm against lifestyle banking, as I see that it destroys the value of shareholders. Of course, some banks can provide this, but I think it's more an exception than a trend. It's not because there are bad people in banks, but the banking app and banking interface and bank regulation contradict this thesis. To enter any app, you need to have identification, a selfie or SMS. It's not really comfortable for lifestyle apps. And another reason is that any bank app wants to block you because it does not know whether you are a fraud, which is logical, that is correct. But it really contradicts the thesis about lifestyle. So I stand for the idea, as one of moderators on the plenary session said, that bankers are entrepreneurs, kind of waiters who serve quickly, and they also had an idea that they serve with expensive services. I don't know how to implement this, but ideally, I think that banks in the future should be good in serving the clients in the field they are experts in, and not building a lifestyle ecosystem or super app, because actually, to say the truth, almost no one can create super apps in the world, and the world crisis in the world showed that almost no one managed to do them. Everyone started to stop these projects, and banks have even less chances. So I think that you should focus on the things that you know the best. So bankers should focus on banking services. Thank you very much. You know, lifestyle changes a lot with time. It becomes digital, and we use services digitally. And a great advantage for any bank will be to make a digital life of their clients much easier, not only on the platform, but also beyond the platform. As I mentioned, we are expecting a very serious convergence in the future. It is happening right now. KYC, these three letters, can be mentioned not in a very pleasant context. We see it as a burden to make identification for our clients. However, it is our great competitive advantage. No other industry knows their clients as good as banks know their clients. And I think that in the near future we will see that there is the war between banking ID, because the bank ID will become the main identifier. And people will use them to have access to different platforms. And payment services will be built in. Data will come there, and data will be transferred from one bank to another, from one platform to another, to make a digital experience for the client much more comfortable, and that other platforms can fit into the client, as other platforms actually need to take some time and spend additional money to collect data, and we already have this data. And of course, we will be happy to share it. So the implementation of this competitive advantage, I think, will be one of the tasks in the near future. And the key factor over success is the number of clients that you have. The biggest value will be the ID of clients. So the game that is based on the growth of the client database is the priority of any bank. And now we see that the position on the market are clear, but all players are different, and we are all moving and playing in spite of the situation on the market right now. Thank you very much. Olga, you have two topics in your question, the creation of super apps and how we see the future of digital banking. I would support my colleagues regarding super apps. The idea is clear. When the merge is shrinked and the sources of income are growing, and we need to try to monetize the customers' demand for products and services. Some players have access to this, but successful implementation is not right now on the market. So I stand for the focus on banking services within a bank. And talking about the future, what is obvious is the development of family products. I think family banking services, family accounts, managing family budgets is really developing. We see it right now, and I think the market will develop these services in the future. If I talk about general digital banking of the future, I think there will be new factors. We, for example, rejected from desktops. We try to stop using plastic cards, and of course new factors will appear in terms of managing private finances, and I think the trend will be to get rid of smartphones and have an access intuitively to our accounts and our products. Mikhail, what would you say? Actually, when we talk about lifestyle, I will agree with my colleague from Ozon, the attempt to include the services of hotel reservation and food delivery into the banking app. I think this is not the way to success. Because in a mobile banking app should be more successful than, let's say, Booking.com or other application which is specialized on a certain service only. And of course, these activities were clear and they were due to different factors, but I don't think this will bring us to success. The basic function of banks will not disappear. That's why they will never lose to fintechs, because banks ensure the security of deposits, the security of money, and people will always value this. People want their money to be secured, and there is also state security and state protection as well. So only banks can manage the risks and calculate it. That's why banks provide crediting. And the attempts on the more developed markets to organize attracting customers and crediting them. So these attempts were not successful, and that happened even before the current crisis. And we see a lot of examples. So probably if we talk about banking apps, when we talk about lifestyle, some services can be provided, but very, very average. For example, let's say to buy a ticket to the cinema or theater, or for example, if one of the chains will give really significant discounts to enrich the client base of the bank and this partner. These temporary collaborations are possible, but I don't think that will be the main line of a long-term development. Now we see, like in 2002, the crisis of dot-coms happened. Today, we see the reduction of prices of a lot of companies in the West that seem to be major players. And I think that this reduction will show next year those services that are really on demand and those who are not needed by clients. So our goal is sustainable development. We see that our customers use some services every day. They use smartphone every day as they buy food or other services like transport services. That's why let's develop basic functions and make it comfortable for clients, and then promote it in all spheres of our life. Thank you very much. I think that today we had a very interesting dialogue. It was concentrated around clients, their requests. Kirill, sorry, could I add on a little bit into this discussion? When we talk about financial life services, I did not mean that it should be a bank financial super app. I think that banks will be inside the apps and services of the companies who provide these lifestyle services. Let's say when you buy a trip, you will be offered 3 or 4 credits, and banks will compete there. Who will provide this credit? And for us, I think one of the challenges is who will be the final mile between the customer and providing them a bank service. Because there is a range of things, except maybe investments. We have the situation when a customer doesn't need a service itself. They just need a credit to purchase something. That's why we see how the automobile credit market disappeared. It moved to dealer offices. When you talk about lifestyle, this is the question for those who can quickly find the bank service and to get the bank service in the moment when the client is using some service. So this is our future. Bank apps will definitely stay, but I don't think that they should build a financial super app. This app can solve some basic tasks, but other things a client can implement in other apps. So I think there will be a mix of apps and services. Yeah, I agree with you that we will have some kind of mix in the future. The future exists, we understand that here we are optimists. From my point of view, the future will form customers' request, or will be formed by the customer's request. And first of all, younger generation will be those who will form banking services. what they will need. The time will show. And I'm happy that all speakers today mentioned orientation on clients' requests, on clients' interests, on client safety. And we see that banks work to get profit. Those banks who do not get profit, regulators have a lot of questions, and shareholders have a lot of questions to these banks. Of course, the products that you create should bring profit. But from my point of view, there should be a rational balance. And what we've discussed on a plenary session, yes, banks are just like waiters who provide service. And we would like that there is a smart price for the service, so that banks do not force us to use expensive services. So I would like to thank all the speakers today, to wish you success in implementation of your plans. In the near future and long-term future, I wish you health and success, and thank you for keeping sense of humor in such a complicated situation. Thank you.
5 секунд, мы прям тютелька в тютельку. Спасибо большое.